You've heard it 1,000 times, that low rhythmic rumble against your chest, and every time you've thought the same thing. She's happy. But what if purring isn't about happiness at all? What if it's something far older, far stranger, and far more desperate than that? Here's what nobody tells you. There's one specific type of purr that most owners never recognize, and missing it could actually matter. We'll get to that in point 6. And the last thing you'll learn today? It will change how you sit with your cat forever. Hold on to both of those, because this isn't trivia. Every purr you've ever heard means something different than you think. And once you know, you can't unhear it. Your cat's body is running a program you never knew existed. Ever noticed that the purr doesn't quite sound like it's coming from your cat's throat? That's because it isn't. Not exactly. Most people assume purring works like a meow. Vocal cords vibrate, sound comes out. Simple. But here's what's really happening. Purring is produced by rapid twitching of the laryngeal muscles, the muscles in the voice box, creating interrupted airflow on both the inhale and the exhale. That's why it's continuous. That low rumble runs in both directions. No other sound a cat makes does that, and the frequency? Between 25 and 150 hertz. That specific range matters more than you'd think. A 2001 study published in the Journal of the Acoustical Society of America found that domestic cat purrs operate at frequencies scientifically associated with tissue regeneration and bone density maintenance. Think about that for a second. Your cat isn't just making a sound, its body is actively using that sound. Every purr is a biological repair program running quietly in the background. Not a comfort signal, a healing mechanism. Your cat has been its own doctor this whole time. But here's the part that changes everything. Purring isn't actually about you. Have you ever heard your cat purring in another room, completely alone? No one watching, no one there to appreciate it? Most people assume purring is a social signal. Cat feels good, cat tells you. A performance directed outward. But that assumption misses something fundamental. Cats purr when they're injured. They purr during labor. They purr in the final stages of dying. No audience required. No one to reassure. Just the sound running on its own. That's not communication. That's survival. Veterinary researchers found that cats in post-surgical recovery who were able to purr showed measurably faster wound closure than those sedated into silence. The purr wasn't comfort, it was the body using vibration as a tool, pressing frequency against its own damaged tissue like a hand held over a wound. Not a signal to you, a signal to themselves. One owner noticed something she couldn't explain after her cat came home from emergency surgery. The cat purred for 3 days straight, low, constant, unbroken. She assumed it meant he was fine, comfortable, recovering well. She even told the vet, quote, 0. The vet looked at the chart and said gently, "He's not purring because he's fine. He's purring because he's working." That sound is what healing looks like in a cat. She hadn't been witnessing contentment. The best part is just getting started. Drop your city in the comments and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. She'd been witnessing effort. And here's what that means for you. When your cat purrs, really purrs, deeply and continuously, something ancient is happening. Something hardwired long before cats ever shared a home with anyone. It has nothing to do with being comfortable. It has everything to do with holding on. The purr isn't a luxury. It's a lifeline. And later, in point 6, you'll learn exactly when that lifeline becomes something you absolutely cannot afford to misread. Now, here's where it gets a little unsettling. Your cat has been manipulating you, and it's been working perfectly. Have you ever felt weirdly unable to ignore your cat when she purrs near her food bowl? Like something in you just responds? You weren't imagining it, and it has nothing to do with being a pushover. Most people think a purr is a purr. One sound, one meaning. Contentment, maybe affection. That's the whole story. But there's a second purr. And it's engineered. In 2009, Dr. Karen McComb at the University of Sussex identified what she called the solicitation purr. It's a purr with something hidden inside it, a high-frequency cry embedded at around 380 hertz, right in the range of a human infant's distress call. Your brain is hardwired to respond to that frequency. It triggers urgency. It bypasses your rational thinking entirely. And here's the part that should genuinely impress you. The humans in McComb's study rated the solicitation purr as significantly more urgent and unpleasant than a regular purr, even when they couldn't consciously explain why. They just felt it, that pull, that can't ignore it feeling. Your cat didn't learn this from you. It evolved it, specifically for you. One owner described it perfectly without even knowing the science. She said her cat had quote _2__. Different from the usual sound, sharper somehow. She always got up, every time. She thought she was just a good cat mom. But she was also responding to an ancient acoustic trigger she never knew existed. Tonight, listen carefully the next time your cat purrs near her bowl or hovers close to you before a meal. There's a faint urgency underneath the rumble. You've been answering it your whole life. You've been outsmarted by something that weighs 10 pounds. If this changed how you see your cat, hit subscribe. We're just getting started, and it gets much deeper than this. And hey, if this is already changing how you hear your cat, hit that like button and subscribe. That's how we reach more people who actually want to understand their cats on a deeper level. Now let's keep going, because it gets more personal from here. Your cat's purr isn't generic. It was built specifically for you. Have you ever noticed that your cat's purr sounds slightly different from recordings of other cats purring? Not just in volume, but in texture, rhythm. Something you can't quite name? Most people assume all purrs are basically the same. Different cats, same sound, like a universal cat setting. But that's not what the research suggests. A 2022 study on feline acoustic communication found that experienced cat owners could correctly identify their own cat's emotional state from purr recordings alone, at a rate significantly above chance. Not because they were guessing, because the patterns were actually there, individualized, consistent, learned over time between one specific cat and one specific person. Your cat's purr has evolved in relationship with you. It has been shaped by your responses, your rhythms, your presence. It is not the same purr it would have developed with someone else. Think about what that means. Something in your cat has been paying attention, calibrating, adjusting, not consciously, but something deeper than conscious. A bond written in frequency. One owner noticed her cat's purr changed dramatically after they moved to a new apartment. Lower, slower, longer pauses between cycles. She mentioned it to her vet almost as an afterthought. The vet said, "That's stress." The purr had been telling her for weeks before any other sign appeared. She just hadn't known how to listen yet. Tonight, close your eyes the next time your cat purrs near you. Really listen. Notice the rhythm, the depth, the pauses. You might be hearing something that belongs only to the two of you. A private language, no lessons required. Now here's the one that stops people cold. Your cat may be purring because of you, not to entertain you, to help you, Have you ever been sick or heartbroken or just completely hollowed out? And your cat appeared? Not called, not coaxed, just suddenly there, on your chest, purring? Most people write that off as coincidence or warmth-seeking. Cats like body heat, right? That's the easy explanation. But here's what the research actually suggests. A 2015 review of companion animal behavior in palliative care settings found that cats spent measurably more time in physical contact with patients on their worst days, not their average days. Their worst? And purring duration in those moments correlated directly with patient-reported pain levels. The worse the person felt, the longer the cat stayed, the deeper the purr ran. The leading hypothesis involves detection, subtle shifts in your breathing pattern, small rises in body temperature. Changes in cortisol-related scent compounds your skin releases under stress. Your cat's senses are picking up signals you don't even know you're sending. They don't know what's wrong. But something in them knows something is wrong, and they're not leaving. One woman going through chemotherapy said her cat, who had never been a lap cat, started sleeping on her every single night during treatment. Not occasionally, every night, without fail. She said it felt intentional. It probably was, in the only way a cat can intend anything. Think back to the last time you were genuinely unwell, or the last time you cried. Where was your cat? Because there's a good chance they weren't across the room. And remember earlier, when I mentioned a specific type of purr that most owners never recognize? The one that could actually matter? We're almost there. Point 6 is where that pays off, and you'll want to pay attention. The only medicine they know how to give. They give without being asked. This is the one I promised you at the beginning. The purr you should never mistake for happiness. And it's the most important thing in this entire video. Have you ever assumed your cat was fine, completely fine, because she was purring? Most people do. Purring equals contentment. That's the equation we all learned. It feels intuitive. It feels obvious. It can also be dangerously wrong. Veterinary pain assessment guides now explicitly state that purring is not a reliable indicator of comfort. Cats in significant distress, in severe pain, in active labor, in deep fear, will often purr continuously. The sound is physiologically almost identical to the contentment purr. Same frequency range, same rhythm, from the outside nearly indistinguishable. This is the purr that isn't about happiness at all. It's the purr that says, I am trying to hold myself together. Remember at the very start, I told you there was one specific purr most owners never recognize, and that missing it could matter? This is what I was talking about. Here's how to tell the difference. A distress purr tends to run lower in pitch, slower in cycle, with longer, heavier pauses between each wave. It often sounds slightly effortful, like something being maintained rather than something flowing naturally. It's subtle, but it's there. One owner nearly missed a crisis because her cat wouldn't stop purring. She thought, she's calm, she's okay. The vet's assessment told a different story. He explained it carefully. She was purring because she was frightened. It was the only self-soothing mechanism she had. The purr wasn't a sign she was coping well. It was proof she was trying to cope at all. So tonight, pay attention. If your cat's purr sounds slower than usual, heavier, with longer gaps, don't just hear the sound. Hear what's underneath it. The bravest sounds are always the quietest ones, and now we've reached the one I told you about at the very beginning. The thing that will change how you sit with your cat forever. I meant that. Have you ever wondered what a cat does in its very last moments? Most people assume that if a cat is purring at the end, in a vet's office, in someone's arms, in the final minutes of a long life. It means they're peaceful, comfortable, not afraid. That might be partly true, but it's not the whole truth. Veterinary behaviorists have documented something that's difficult to explain away. Cats frequently purr during euthanasia. In the final stages of natural death, in the arms of the person they've spent their life with. The purr runs right up to the end, sometimes beyond the point where you'd expect any voluntary sound at all. The leading interpretation is this: the end-of-life purr is the deepest expression of the self-soothing mechanism, the cat returning to its most ancient, most hardwired response, the thing it has always done when the world became too much to hold. But there's a second interpretation, quieter, harder to measure. By the end of a life shared with someone, the purr and the person may have become the same signal, inseparable. The cat doesn't distinguish between quote 3 and quote 4. Those two things, over years, over thousands of moments of contact, have fused into one. So the purr at the end isn't only about fear or pain or the body doing what it knows. It may also just be you, your presence, translated into the only language they ever had. Remember at the start, that low, rhythmic rumble against your chest? You thought you knew what it meant. It was never just happiness. It was never just one thing. It was ancient. It was biological. It was desperate and devoted, and sometimes it was the sound of holding on,